Hey guys, welcome to another video for the South Texas Gardener. In this video, I'm going to show you how I fill up my seed trays. I have your pretty much standard seed tray that you get. You can pretty much get anywhere at nurseries or Home Depot or Lowe's or what have you. And I have my seed mix here that I've showed you before how I get. And so this one's a 6 by 12, so it's a 72 cell tray. And I'm going to be putting an assortment of seeds from different companies here, which I'll make a different video for that. But either way, I'm gonna show you how I fill these up. So it's quite simple, really. Well, actually, here's my view right now. It's a little different than usual because it's actually raining in San Antonio for a change. So move the operation to a different spot. But in any case, so here we go. So let me just show you how I fill it up, right? So you already know what I have here as far as my seed mix. I'm not going to show you all of it because it would just take too long. So essentially what I do here, I usually have a little shovel, but I'll just go ahead and do it this way for now. All right. So as you can see here, I fill up my seed tray and then I kind of compress it a little bit. I compress the soil just a bit, not a lot. You don't want it to be super packed. Just a little, not a lot. All right, so that's pretty much how I do it. And so in the next shot, you'll see, I'm gonna take a little quick time jump. All right, so we're done now filling our cells, all 72. I don't know for sure if I'm gonna fill all of them in with seeds, but either way, I've got it prepared and it's ready. Now, the next thing I'm gonna show you is how I water them because I don't put seeds in them just yet. You don't wanna do that just yet. You want to moisten that soil. And so what I have here, as I said earlier in the video, that it rained here in San Antonio, so I actually have some rainwater at my disposal today. That's actual rainwater from just from this morning. So you don't typically want to you don't want it sitting around too long. You want to get the full benefits of rainwater. You want to use it fairly quickly, no more than a couple days at least. But I'll make another video later about why rainwater is superior to the stuff that we use, from our faucets. But if that's all we have, that's all we have, right? So, and like I said, here in San Antonio, it doesn't rain that often. So whenever you get rainwater, you use it. So I'm going to show you how I water my cells. Actually, I water all my seedlings this way too, even when they've germinated and they're sprouting and growing. Because you don't want to pour that water on the surface of the dirt here because you're gonna make a big mess, right? And especially me right now because I had to change the location where I'm doing this. I actually really like this. I like the background there too. You can see my kumquat tree there and my lemon tree. Anyways, you don't wanna make a big mess and it's just easier to do this way. And because if you water your seeds, if you top water it, you run the risk of overflow and washing out the seeds from inside your cells. But like I said, at the moment right now, I don't have any seeds yet. But it's really important that you moisten the substrate before you put in the seeds. And so that's what we're gonna do right now. So I'm gonna show you how I do this and how I kind of prep my cells for future waterings as well. I'm going to make cuttings, 2 cuts, one on this side, on the left, on the right, and then one on my left side. This is for future waterings because when I have it in my system upstairs with the grow lights, I want to make it as easy as possible to water them again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out a square, as I'm doing right now. Okay, you want to make sure you're cutting a straight line there. And I'll just do one side for just for our purposes here. I don't need to do all both this side and that side. Just know that there's going to be another one the same. There's going to be another square right here, 2 by 2. And so what I do is I remove it. I take my water container and I'm going to pour my water in there. And for starters, I put it maybe like anywhere from a quarter to about halfway full. Okay, steady. Need more water. That's good. Yeah, and then if I notice later on, and I let it sit there for a couple of hours, you let it sit for a couple of hours, and what's going to happen is through these openings at the bottom, I don't know if you can see the opening. Oh, I don't want to flip it now, but there's openings at the bottom of each of these cells, and what will happen is that the water, through capillary action, I don't know how familiar you are with the chemistry of water, but you know water is H2O, right? Two hydrogens and an oxygen. The two hydrogens have a positive N and the oxygen has a negative N on it. And because of that difference in electrostatic potential, the water has the ability, we call this capillary action, has the ability to climb against gravity. So it'll actually climb up. It's a similar way the roots capture water, and the water goes up and through the stem, the xylem, and into the leaves that water the leaves and the fruit and what have you. Same principle here. So the water is gonna basically be absorbed from the bottom up. This is a bottom up watering, and this is really the best way to water your plants. And anytime I can do that with any of my plants, I know these are just a few right here that I have showing you, but I try to do that. Or okay, I'll just leave it at that because I can make, this can get a pretty lengthy topic. So in any case, that's kind of how I started off. And so after about an hour or two, sometimes, you know, I'll forget or I get busy, it'll sit there all day and do it. But once it's done absorbing all the water, and you'll be able to tell because right now you feel it feels nice and dry, but within a couple of hours, you'll tell a color difference and it'll get darker because it's wet. And then at that point, it's the perfect time to start putting down your seeds. So we're gonna have another time jump. This will be a couple of hours so that the water can be absorbed by the soil and the water can move its way up all the way through the soil thoroughly. And this is, again, I should make this point too, this is the best way to thoroughly water your soil so that it goes into every single crevice that's available in that substrate. Because when you water top down, if you haven't watered in a while, especially when the soil is a little dry, that substrate can get hydrophobic, okay? Hydro, water, phobic, phobia, fear. It repels the water molecules and it can actually just run over the sides. Or maybe it'll create one crevice and it'll just go down that one crevice and not actually get fully absorbed into that soil. And then all of your roots don't get properly saturated, aren't able to take up water properly. That's why drip irrigation or slow drip irrigation is the best, because you give water the time to run through every single little crevice in the substrate to properly water your water. Well, in any case, again, like I said, this is gonna get really lengthy, so let's do a quick time jump so you can see what this looks like when it's fully saturated. So keep this picture in mind. All right, so I don't know if you could tell from the last image, but it is considerably darker and it is definitely moist to the touch. Yeah, so osmosis has done its thing, diffusion has done its thing, water has made its way up through capillary action all the way up to the surface, so the soil is ready for the seeds. And I've got my labels ready here, so I'm going to plant 4 different seeds for the now anyways, and then I'll do some more later. So the ones I'm going to do right now are the Dragon's Tongue, the beans from Baker Creek Heirloom, and also the Brad's Atomic Grape. From David's Garden Seed, I'm doing the Cherokee Purple and the Brandywine Black. So let me show you how I do the seeds real quick. All right, so these are the Dragon's Tongue, and then these are my Cherokee Purple seeds. So David's Garden Seeds puts them in this nice little plastic baggie, and then they come in loose in the Baker Creek Heirloom seeds. So let me just show you real quick how I do this. It's not complicated. So I poke a hole, okay, maybe about 1 inch to ½ inch thick. Okay, since this is where the Dragon's Tongue, I'm making it a little bit deeper because it is a bigger seed, a bigger bean. And so the bigger the bean, the bigger the seed. There we go. So this has a lot more energy storage than, let's say, your Cherokee Purple seeds. So this one can withstand a little bit, more depth because it'll have the energy to push all the way through the soil. So I'm just pressing it in there gently. You can use the eraser. Okay. So we go. Oops. Okay, and then I just kind of gently push the soil on top of the bean. And in no time, once I put it in a heat mat, once I put this tray in a heat mat, it'll take maybe a week or two for the beans to begin germinating. And then once they start germinating, I leave them in the heat mat for maybe a couple more weeks after that, and then I take them out of the heat mat. So let's see, 2 seeds. Usually 2 seeds will do the trick. I'll get at least one of them, but usually it's 2. But like I said, I don't want to take the chance of none with just one, because it's 2 weeks. And we're at that time now in mid-January, mid to late January. I don't know if you can see the date there. It's the 24th of January. So I'm kind of right there at the cusp of being just a bit late. Typically you want to do it here in South Texas, because our seasons are a little bit different than, let's say, if you were like in Wisconsin or something where you're probably still covered in snow. We can start a little earlier. Wisconsin, you guys are probably, going all the way through April or so. I'm not sure what your climate is. This is San Antonio, where I'm located. I'm like right at the line for 8A and 8B. Our last frost date is usually late February or early March. Like March 1 is our usual day to start putting things into the ground. So you want to get those started about right now, or a week or two ago. Last year I started on January 1, and I felt like that was just a little bit too early. And but this year I'm starting just a couple weeks later, and we'll see how that goes. So just pay attention to your weather patterns and how that goes, depending on what climate zone you're in, and that way you'll kind of time it right, so you can when these sprout, you can up pot them maybe only once. Like I'll up pot these maybe into a 4-inch pot, and then after that into the ground. And I don't usually want to go any bigger than that, because then I'm having to make a bigger hole in the ground. So, but in any case, that does it for how I pot my seedlings. And as you can see here, I have the other opening that I was mentioning before. There's still a little bit of water in there. And seeing that these are already kind of saturated, I might leave them for another hour or so. And then after that, whatever excess water I have in this container, I'm going to drain it out, because I do not want these sitting in a bed of water, because then I can have mold problems. And when I do have a mold problem, I don't have the spray with me, but I'll typically have like a fungicide that I just kind of, if I start to see the hairs, the fungicide, the fungus root hairs kind of come out, then I usually just spray it with the fungicide, and that takes care of that. It doesn't really affect the seedlings, or at least I've noticed that it doesn't. So, but that fungus can kill a seedling though, so you don't really want it cohabitating with your little seedlings. So in any case, that's it. That'll do it. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.